This is Review Your Gear Radio with your host Chris Husted and Jason Renner. Coming to you with the latest topics, reviews, and techniques for hunting and fishing in the Midwest. And here they are, Chris and Jason. Take it away, boys.
Hello, Review Your Gear Radio. I'm Chris Husted.
Jason Renner.
It is Season 4, Episode 21. It is the 101st podcast episode.
Why?
Because we missed the 100th.
So does this mean, you read out there in the podcast world, like if you make it to 100, you're supposedly made it.
Or you just have that much free time you found to make 100 episodes. But here we are at 101. I actually relaunched the newsletter this morning, the Breaklines and Firing Lines newsletter. If you're not on the newsletter, it's literally at the bottom of every page on the website. Get signed up.
We'll have some giveaways. We'll have all kinds of stuff.
We're trying to make it interesting, not just a boring newsletter.
Yeah, not something just to spam your email box.
Well, not just to send. Make it timely, make it just interesting.
Correct.
So, have you heard?
Okay, the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Cheaters were... Now, I'm not even going to wait for headlines on this. The whole cheaters exposed on Lake Erie in the fishing tournament world. If you're living under a rock or clearly been away from any media for the last 2 days, on Friday, a couple of anglers named Chase Kaminsky and what was the other?
Jaden.
No.
No.
Now I got to know.
Oh.
Well, anyways, I just remembered one of the names because they'll go down in history. It made TMZ. It made...
Really?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Well, the funny thing is, I got a couple buddies up in Canada, and they sent me videos of it. Like,
can you believe this? Yeah.
It's like it's all over. And is this the first time that this has happened in the bass world? I've seen it in the bass world, but this is kind of the first time that somebody's really, really been busted in the walleye world.
Well, you've heard of things.
Correct.
You've heard of dog kennels being found empty, of course, but it just shows that they were probably used.
Correct.
So cheating does exist, but this was a pretty big scale. Like these guys won boats in like six figures in
this, the fall brawl, I think it's $100,000 tournament. This is a big deal on Lake Erie. And have you watched the video?
Which one?
Well, the full video of the weigh-in.
No, I have not.
So these guys were in the lead for Team of the Year too. So I'm sure there might be an extra paycheck for that or something
I'm sure.
like that. And they come in, and as soon as what's a big fish? And it's 7 pounds, and immediately these guys are like, there's no way that's a 7-pound fish. Something's up, You could just hear it start the murmur of this.
Something stinks.
Something's not adding up.
That's a 23-inch fish, and it weighs like 8 pounds.
Correct. And we've been around. You can look at a fish and go, that's about 6. That's about 5. You catch enough fish and you don't have to stick them on the scale. You know kind of where they should be. And these guys got, and they don't pick up the audio because the dude that's running the show, I think his name is Jason. Nice name, by the way. Is running the show, and then they kind of pulled them to the side for verification for the championship, I think.
Okay.
And that's where kind of I think they felt the fish and something wasn't. But what really blew my mind was not only the lead weights, but the walleye fillets stuffed in there.
Yeah, that's gross.
well, what's it? They're trying to hide. They probably wrapped. I'm guessing they wrapped the lead in the walleye fillets, so there's a little cushion in there.
Okay.
To make it feel more real, so you don't.
Okay, so I never understood the whole. Why would you shove walleye fillets in there?
I'm guessing that's what it is. It is like elite level cheating. We're not talking Mark McGuire steroids. We're talking. I mean,
yeah, this is a felony.
This is a felony in. I mean, to actually stuff like walleye fillets around that to make it have that so it feels the same. That's next level. That takes some time, some prep, some effort.
Who cleans these fish? Don't they have people that clean the fish at these tournaments?
I don't think they do at this one.
But don't they at most?
Yes.
So you would think someone would be like, hey, here's some lead weights when they're cleaning the fish. I also heard, this is just, I read this, so I'm not verifying its truth, but there was supposedly some tournament earlier in the year where you donate your fish for some community cause, and evidently they were the only ones that didn't donate their fish.
And they have been, and there's been some hashtags of a guy that called these guys out for cheating.
Last year, I guess.
Last year, and he's been blackballed from this team tour and area stuff. And what was the hashtag? Free whatever his name is.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been blackballed.
But and what's almost really disgusting is I saw a cell phone video. Someone was filming, I think it was Chase, while he was pre-fishing, and he was arrogantly saying about how he's going to win the tournament because winners win.
No.
Yeah. If you saw that part, you'd be like, oh my goodness, that's beyond, so in other words, I think these guys were getting way too comfortable. Like they'd probably been getting away with this for a while. They
probably started out with like 3/4 ounce weights and they were wrapping it and getting away with it and stuff like that. And, all of a sudden, but what absolutely blew my mind is when my sister-in-law, because we were kind of hanging with family, goes, hey, Jay, have you seen this yet? My sister-in-law has zero to do with anything fishing.
Right.
And when she's seeing it, it's like, holy, this went viral in a hurry.
It's on like every major news network has picked it up. I mean, if you Google like Lake Erie walleye cheaters or anything to that effect, you're going to see all the big news outlets covering it.
So here's my question. We just had the Big Ten showdown.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Governor's Cup. We have, we don't have quite, I mean, this fall brawl was what, $100,000 for first place.
No, and I think historically, I thought the Big Ten was a $30,000 first prize, but it looks like
5.
Yeah, they must have scaled it down because there's only like 60 boats.
Yeah, which is I have no
whatever.
But when the one thing I've always noticed is during the KD tournament, in the salmon tournament on the Great Lakes, they take a metal detector to the fish. Like, I don't know if they're, scanning for lead weights or whatever, but they take every fish has a wand taken to it looking for cheating.
Okay.
Because that's a $60,000 prize of the biggest fish in the cage.
Sad you have to do that.
Yeah. But now, does this expose our world to all of a sudden, hey, these tournaments start? I mean,
it's a black eye.
But the other thing is it does. Is somebody going to actually try it now that they have the recipe?
I would not think that. I think anyone who's gotten away with it in the past probably thinking, geez, I better not do that again. I mean, and I got as much as it is a black eye. You're right. I mean, this is on a worldwide scale. Like I even heard over in other countries are covering it. Point is, you cheat, you F around, you're going to find out. And this is classic. I don't think if you cheat again, you're putting yourself at risk for something like this.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just you're being blackballed from the fishing industry. You're blackballed in your local community because you're cheating and basically stealing from people in your town.
From what I take it, these guys were fishing NWT tournaments out there. They were fishing MWC tournaments. I mean, but now are these guys?
Oh, they will never see another tournament again.
Plus, their sponsors, reputation.
I've already seen like their quote unquote sponsors. Even I've seen people who they're wearing patches or stuff, and they're not even affiliated with them, and they're even coming out saying, "Hey, we have nothing to do with these guys." That's tainted goods right there. Anyways, we've talked enough about it, but it's getting beat down like a dead horse. I can't literally go on Facebook right now because it's every other post.
It is.
So
it is. So
we broke out the shotgun. And we got a newbie into the outdoors. I'm saying it as a newbie. Because he shot more ducks in 10 minutes than he did the rest of his life.
And it's funny, you know, when we're driving up to your house, and he's like, "Oh, how do I identify? How do you just?" So don't sweat the details so much. Just go have fun. Which I'm pretty sure he had a pretty good.
I'm sure he did.
There's something about watching birds
work. Yep.
In any given, we don't have the big groups or their big group, but watching those singles and doubles come in, and it's still just one of the funnest things to do. And even watching those two geese come in was right. Couldn't pop them because it was the evening. Otherwise, pretty sure both of those would have been toast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not the way we were shooting that night. We were shooting.
No, shooting wasn't. But it didn't matter. It was a good time. Beautiful evening.
Like
sunboat,
short sleeves.
Yeah, 70-degree weather. No bugs.
No bugs. That was kind of shocking for me.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll take it. So all drakes.
All gentlemen's agreement.
Yep, we went for drakes. So we're going to shoot drakes. We shot drakes. You know, we had opportunities to shoot hens.
Yeah, there's a couple hens that came in.
But to be fair, we had a lot of drakes come in.
And the one thing I thought I would totally hate, and I had to try it, is not having the third shot in the blind with the over and under.
Oh, sure.
There was once where I missed it, but other than that, I think it made me take my time more.
Absolutely. And I shoot a lot less, not just because I can only shoot twice.
Yeah.
But you get patient.
You get patient, and cleaning up after the newbie a couple times was kind of fun.
Well, the best was actually, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this one. And then he popped up. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, he did shoot across me for that one.
That's all right. That's all right. That was fun.
But
he got him. He shot it. He shot it.
Yeah. But yeah, he was like kidding candy store over there.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was fun. Beautiful evening to do it.
And great guy that we stopped in. You said hello again. For building those relationships, which you got to do these days. And God, that one greenhead was nice.
Yeah, we had a really fully plume.
That was a nice one. And that one Drake pintail was.
And those widgeon weren't bad either.
Oh no, yeah, those couple widgies were nice too. That's an underrated duck as far as prettiness.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't mind shooting widgeons at all.
Nope, not at all. And when they come in, those white breasts, they, Yeah. So let's have some tales from the Chub Tank.
Tales from the Chub Tank.
When we started Tales from the Chub Tank, I had a Chub Tank going. Given we're going into the fall and winter and I have no Chub Tank, should we retire it temporarily to the spring?
I think we just got it turned into the Chub Tank project.
Yeah, but then we have to go get chubs.
No, I
Yeah.
think you need to build it first, get your water right.
No, I don't disagree there, but you don't want to run it all winter when.
No, but you should really probably get the water right, and I would get flatheads. Flatheads. Wow.
Yeah, that's okay.
Fatheads. There we go. Fatheads in there and get your water right, or even freaking goldfish, and just get it right and make sure it's.
Or you just start with a few chubs.
Yeah. I mean, and see how they do, but I mean, I think it's. And trust me, I've thought about this. How many times have you thought of, God, I got to run into Landers to go ice fishing? And
Right.
it's just, you're just going out for an evening or something like that.
You just want to have bait.
Where if you'd have some flatheads and
Fatheads.
Jesus, I did it twice. Wow.
I had to correct you right away.
I know. I need more coffee.
Yeah, no cocktails during the podcast tonight. It's early.
Tonight, you mean today?
Today, you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean.
Yeah, we're both not functioning right.
It's too early. So, what's the best way to winterize your boat, Mr. Renner?
I just run some seafoam through it and make sure everything's drained. And I'm going to throw some dryer sheets because it's going to be out back.
Okay.
Keep the mice out of everything. But take the batteries out.
Yeah.
Throw those in the garage,
Well, your garage is cold.
It takes a lot to get that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't usually have a whole lot because it's insulated. It just has no heater.
Gotcha. What about stable? You a stable guy?
Oh, I stick stable in the tank, but I run seafoam through I actually use seafoam, not stable.
Okay.
Stable, what a lot of people don't realize is stable is actually meant for the heat when your vehicle's. Because the big thing with destabilization is actually when the gas gets too warm and then it starts evaporating inside the tank. And that stable actually prevents that. So, kind of we've been duped by a lot of companies.
Why do so many people recommend it then?
It's because a lot of people down south, because they have the fluctuations of temperature in the south.
Okay.
And from working at a couple marinas, is all they do is seafoam.
Okay.
Run seafoam.
I am one of the ones. I'm lucky enough. I have a heated shop, and I like to have my boat ready.
No, just in case you get that 60-degree week in December.
Yep.
Do you remember that from a few years ago?
It does happen.
And God, was walleye fishing on the Missouri just stupid then.
That's why I'm going to have my boat ready. Just in case. Are you looking forward to winterizing your camper this year?
No.
Do you know what you should really do?
What's that?
I'm giving a free plug for the local peeps. I just take mine to Capital RV. It's like $100. And it's like they back it up. So if something happens, if there's moisture still, or anything like that, for me, it's probably the best $100 I spend because I put it away, strip the battery, and it's done.
It's actually $145.25.
Is that what it is now?
Yeah,
used to be about $100. Used to be $100.
No, I checked into it.
Inflation is you know what?
Yeah,
but. What hasn't inflated?
Yeah.
That still isn't that really bad from in my case. You have a big camper.
You forget. Let's say you forget moisture in the water tank and something expands on you. That's going to cost you $500-600.
Oh, more than that.
I mean, so how many years worth of winterization to have it done? I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I bring mine over. I get it done. I bring it home, park it, and I don't worry about it till the next spring.
Yeah. No, actually, I got a buddy that's who does it. He used to work at an RV place, and he comes to wherever you're going to park it and do it. And then I got another buddy from my hockey team that's going to let me park. I was going to put it in the camper in my garden.
Yep.
But he's got a huge yard, and I'm just going to park in the back of his yard for the winter. So, and he said, he might borrow my camper as payment during the Governor Cup next week or next year.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't care.
Yeah, right? And if that falls out, you may know someone else who's got plenty of parking. So.
Yeah. So,
I have a question for you, Mr. Renner.
yes, sir.
How thick is the ice on Lake Audubon?
In this world known as North Dakota, one question is on everybody's mind. How thick is the ice on Lake Audubon?
Boy, that was theatrical.
I'm working on it.
Zero is the answer. Moving on. So let's close this out, the first segment. Let's talk a little bit about prepping for early ice. Now, besides the obvious, first thing I think everyone should do is, if you haven't done it yet this year, get your batteries on the charger before they're toast. And then after that, obviously, I like to put fresh line on my main rods.
What? I don't think we've ever had this discussion.
What's that?
What line do you use on your ice rod?
I actually use Fireline Crystal on that as well.
Not even the ice version, just the regular?
I think it's the same, isn't it?
Maybe.
I have a feeling.
Okay.
I have a feeling.
Okay.
Point is, it's fine.
Yeah.
If you're outside, yeah, you have a little freeze up issues with fishing line because it's, North Dakota, it's the tundra. But for the most part, no, we're in a heated house. It's not usually a problem. But no, I use 8-pound Fireline usually, and then typically most lakes, it's cloudy enough where you don't have to worry about a leader. We don't fish that many uber clear lakes except for maybe Audubon.
I've started using, though, a fluorocarbon leader. Just to, I've tied it where I've taken out the snap. I don't do the snap anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I had
tie direct.
Yeah, tie direct. But it just gives a little bit of, because I use Power Pro Ice. And it just seems like my hookups are a little better.
Okay.
With it. I don't know. I don't know. Could be
you would think it's about the same because you're not getting any stretch like mono.
Correct. But the other thing I've noticed is I don't get bit off as much by pike.
Okay. Well, fluorocarbon will be stronger than, but Power Pro is good stuff though.
I know.
For strength.
But I think it has a tendency to, if you get a nick from a northern, that it breaks a little easier.
Okay.
I think
Fireline is horrible for that.
Yeah.
So Power Pro is much better if you're dealing with teeth and a lot of it. But
and one of those lakes we might be checking out this winter, and there are probably very few ice fishing trips because both our schedules are kind
not looking good.
No. Has lots of toothy critters along with walleyes. So.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. We'll be right back here on Review Your Gear Radio. And we're back here on Review Your Gear Radio. So, one thing I notice living, I guess you could say I kind of live in the country. I am outside of town. I have ag around. I hear a lot of yotes all the time here. And when we were duck hunting the other night, you could hear them thick.
But, and here's the other thing. I used to hear them all the time at the lake, just outside Pick City there.
Sure. They're everywhere out here. So we have an abundance of yotes. That's no secret. Is that a dying breed of hunter, though? How many guys are all about predators? I know a couple guys. I do, too. But it's not like the numbers where you'd see... like waterfowl guys. Exactly. Or even just like anglers. Yeah. It's like, I know 2 guys that do it, are pretty avid. One of them does it competitively. He's out of Kansas, and he's really good at it. Wins a lot of events. Makes me wonder, though. Is he stuffing weights? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, buddy. But seriously, there's so many yotes, and they need to be thinned, I think. I'm not a biologist in that regard, but there is definitely no shortage of coyotes in this state.
And here's the question: did they have a good year with all those deer getting EHD, and then they had a bunch of pups this year because of that? Because the females were healthy. Okay, going into, we didn't have a real hard winter. So do the pups go up then? And then so there's more around? And then you have the reverse of, like, we've all taken enough class that once the population gets so high, the food gets thinner or something.
It also, that would bring up the question of how much does deer pertain to a coyote's diet?
Well, if they're falling over dead from disease, then,
Well, you're right, but but let's pretend without falling over from disease. I know wolves, they're not shy to taking down any big game, but how about, I don't hear a lot about coyotes, but you have to assume packs of them do it all the time.
They got a pack hunt, especially on hard winters when the deer can't move much. I mean, they're a lighter critter,
Right.
I mean, there's a time and place for them because they do pick out the sick and wounded out of the, and probably clean house. I mean, how many people leave gut piles just for the coyotes? I mean, out deer hunting.
When we go snow goose hunting in Saskatchewan, there'll be 4 of us. We'll have 80 carcasses of snow geese after a hunt. We leave them in a pile right where the farmer tells us he wants us to clean them.
Yeah.
And we'll come back the next morning to do it again, and they're typically always gone.
Huh.
The whole pile of 80. You see maybe a couple wings going, off into the field.
Yeah.
That they dragged them away, but yeah, that just goes to show that's one night, 80 carcasses. That's a lot of mouths.
We used to hunt at a place, and they had 135 cats in the farmyard.
Wow.
And
how do they know that?
He's counting them. He's an old retired farmer. And we'd have to gut the deer. He'd want us to gut the deer in the farmyard to feed the cats.
Yeah. He loved his cats.
He loved his cats. I mean, but that was the requirement of hunting there was, you got to gut it back here and feed my cats.
Okay. Fair enough. Do you know, I did last winter see something I don't see very often. I did see a fox run through my backyard.
I haven't seen a fox west of Jamestown. I haven't seen one in 10, 15 years.
It used to be on the reverse. I remember when I was in high school, so we're going back 30 years, we used to hunt for fox down in the sandhills to the southwest of Fargo. And there was an abundance of fox. And I remember back then you would, every once in a while, see a coyote. And that was kind of a big deal back then, 30 years ago. Of course, fast forward now and it's flipped. The yotes are everywhere and you don't see a ton of fox.
No, and I think it is because the coyote population.
It's got to be. It's got to be. So let's get into the good stuff. Let's have some headlines. Hurricane Ian. Hey, I spelled hurricane wrong. Ravishes the fishing fleet. Now, you've seen the pictures in Florida. It's awful.
Coming soon to Facebook Marketplace. Boats from Florida.
Right. But even up the coast as far as Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, there was a boat, a big boat that my mouse will work. Anyways, it was a big commercial boat and they could smell fuel, so they're worried about, dangers there. But there's just so much. And it went 8 miles. The weather carried it 8 miles down the shoreline. How many people's livelihoods are, I don't know if they're insurance that's a lot of insurance to cover some of those boats. Those are expensive boats.
And I was watching the coverage the other morning, and it was in between. When it was in the Orlando area. The guy is standing down in Naples, Florida, and my wife's like, is that boat really say what it says? It was White Bear Lake, Minnesota. So I'm sure a lot of retirees
Right.
brought their boats down once they retired, and yeah, it had the back was White Bear Lake, Minnesota. So
Right.
I know for a fact a couple people that have boats down there that used to be on the river here that they retired down there and they took them down there. And they were in those areas that got hit. I haven't heard how their houses and boats did, but
Right.
it's that was a big storm, the fifth largest in Florida history.
Well, yeah, there's
And then to do it kind of did what Andrew did, but not quite in the strength, because I don't know if you remember Andrew from the 90s, where it came in, hit Miami, came across, and then strengthened back up into a hurricane. And I think he went into northern Florida. I think that was the single largest insurance claim, I think, in the United States. Well, this kind of did the same.
This is going to be expensive.
Yeah, because it kind of came across Florida, went up, became a hurricane again, and then slammed into the Carolinas. So
Right on. Well, not right on, but yeah, I know what you mean. In California, the lovely California Department of Fish and Wildlife has released some good safety recommendations for waterfowl hunters to deal with the avian flu this year. Yeah. It's pretty intense. You got to keep harvested waterfowl cool below 45 degrees Fahrenheit until processed. That's really tough. The worst, though, and I say worst meaning you're supposed to cook with the internal temperature of 165 degrees or more before consuming, and that's not a good duck.
no,
I'm being honest,
But here's my question: have they ever proved avian flu to move into humans?
I do not think so.
And they know it's mainly a preventative thing, and you're supposed to cook wild meat to that point all the time. But I mean, it just makes me question of why they're really putting that out there. I mean, is it? I don't know. I guess
Precautions,
but I still think there's a lot of scaring this to make.
I agree.
It worse to so-called protect the Thanksgiving crop.
We did just get over a pandemic, sir.
So I know.
Everyone's a little bit on edge. North Dakota wetlands in much better shape over last year. Well, we knew this, but I thought I'd talk about it anyways. 29% below the long-term average, though, but it is up 26% from the extreme drought last fall.
Correct. And look, well, driving up, we saw stuff that we've hunted before. Well, at least I have. That's dry.
We didn't get much rain this late summer or early fall. We haven't gotten very much at all.
No, but I mean, some of those sloughs, though, we've seen over where we hunted, those are newer. You can tell.
Sure.
Just because it has that certain pond weed that seems to grow in newer, transitional ponds and stuff like that. So that was good to see. But a lot of water over that way.
A lot of ducks.
A lot of ducks.
We saw a lot of ducks. Not a lot of ducks moved when it was 70-some degrees and started to get calm.
Except for right towards the end.
Right at the end, we had that flurry.
That flurry, yeah.
But we had mostly singles, doubles, stuff like that. Snow goose hatch. I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but man, am I just getting excited. I know a lot of outfits up in Canada, and of course, as the season progresses, they're finding more and more and more juvies. It's going to be good.
It's going to be dirty.
Hunting will be pretty good.
So here's my question for you.
What's that?
Before you get in, okay, do you hunt juvies different than you would when there's a lot of adults? Do you plan?
Yeah, a little. Yeah, I do. I don't usually, unless it's dead calm, I don't usually use much for motion decoys on adults.
Okay.
I like to run all my decoys on the ground. I rarely even use a set of wings unless I'm using a flag.
Gotcha.
I've had better luck with that. I think geese are so used to seeing flyers. Doesn't matter the brand, but I think they've seen them enough where the old ones could probably tell you what brand of flyer is in a spread. Oh, look at those. Those are the new White Rocks. How many of those Silasock flyers have I seen? But no, all seriousness, I don't. I run a casual feeding spread typically, right? So that just works for us. Also, if you read that article I write about, and I will say it again, I think the biggest 101 mistake that hunters make is they evenly spread their decoys apart. I guarantee you this happens more often than people care to admit. You set a decoy, you take 3 steps, you set another decoy. Before you know it, all your decoys are on the COVID 5 to 6 foot rule space apart. And I've flown in airplanes over decoy spreads. You look down, I can see from the stratosphere darn near that's a decoy spread. I can tell because they're all evenly spaced.
Yeah, and wild birds do not.
There's no, they do not. So tip. Hey, what's cooking on the stone?
What's cooking on the stone?
Pancakes.
Oh.
Yeah, pancakes work good on the stone because you can do so many so quickly.
You know what my favorite new recipe is?
What's that?
Adding mashed banana into it, and then chocolate chips.
My daughter would love my daughter loves chocolate chips. I don't know if they would go. Maybe they like bananas.
You know, what I've been doing is I freeze them, and then right when I start prepping for everything, I take them out of the freezer, and they come out, and they're just mushy, so it mixes in really nice.
Yep.
And, a little vanilla.
I always use vanilla in mine.
Always use vanilla. And so here's my other question. Do you use the complete, or do you use where you have to add the eggs in your pancake mix, or do you make them?
I never buy complete. Just add water.
Yeah.
Which is funny because if you go to the grocery store, 90% of it is just add water.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes hard to add milk, eggs, oil. That's the only way I make it. I think it's always better. I just don't think the add water. I agree,
but I figured out even on the complete, if you add some eggs to it, it kind of brings it around.
Okay.
Because up the lake, we up there, kind of doing the complete works a little bit, but then I bought some that wasn't, probably accidentally, and we made it, and I was like,
okay.
Oh, everybody and then I'm like, then we're out of it, and the next week I'm like, hey, we're going to put some eggs in this, and it kind of turned out kind of the same.
Okay.
And the other thing that just a little touch of gourmet to it, add some melted butter to the pancake.
Okay.
Instead of oil, the amount of oil, use melted butter for it instead.
Okay. I'm a butter guy.
Next level. I'm telling you.
I like my butter. So I'm struggling to come up with new recipes for the kids. I'm literally hitting a wall. I've been cooking for my kids for long enough where I'm just repeating. I'm not inserting enough new stuff.
Okay.
So besides searching the internet, what does the guy do?
Well, I mean, how easy is it to find out there? But I think what you gotta space it down to is your kids. Well, your kid's done. Wyatt's done with tennis, so he's kind of winding down. But Brooks
always
wins her schedule now,
right? And
then Easton's kind of up and down, and so you kind of got to break it down. I've started to do this. Is what day of the week is a crock pot meal? What day of the week is this? What day can I cook? What day can I, and just kind of, I hate to say it, is I've started planning out our suppers a week in advance. Like Sunday, if I go to the grocery store, I plan it out. So the biggest thing is you might want to go out there, start finding, break it down. What truly do your kids like? Pastas, pizzas.
Yep.
Have you found a frozen pizza they like yet?
I don't like feeding my kids frozen pizzas. Pizza's a rarity in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, my son works at a pizza joint, but I try not to eat a lot of the crap. I try to feed him good food, natural food. I hate buying stuff with heavy on preservatives of anything, which is actually hard.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I'm not good at planning that meal stuff. I usually kind of fly by the seat of my pants each day. Like, what does everyone feel? And then I go from there.
But, I mean, do they like pastas?
They like a little bit of everything, but except for my youngest, the oldest two, they're not as adventurous to try new things. So I have to be within reason too.
Because just look at, there's so many different, one of my wife's favorites is always I make carbonara.
Oh, sure.
And everybody thinks carbonara is so difficult. It's really not. It's bacon, pasta, eggs, and I throw peas in mine.
Sure.
That's a simple one. Carbonara is a good one.
Chicken parm, I've been throwing that in the rotation lately. That's not hard.
The other one I do like to make a pan in advance is you can make lasagna ahead of time. Just throw it in the oven.
Yeah. You won't see me making lasagna anytime soon.
Not lasagna?
No, Lisa does that. Lisa actually, she makes lasagna, but it's about a once a year thing.
Ah.
So it's a treat.
Yeah.
But I don't have the patience, I guess, for all the steps to make lasagna.
The other thing I drive my kids a little bit nuts by doing this is I always make just chicken breasts with some steamed vegetables and some rice.
Sounds boring.
Yeah.
Sounds healthy, though. Sounds healthy.
That drives my kids nuts. And that's where, if I do that, I know exactly what my kids are going to do. They're going to come downstairs and go directly for the mac and cheese.
Right. I hear it. Oh, do you know what we had yesterday that I haven't had in years?
What's that?
I got a bucket of KFC.
I keep seeing the commercial, and it's like, God, it's been a long time since I've had some KFC.
It was good, but you had to get the mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yeah.
My youngest obviously wanted mac and cheese. I did not get the coleslaw this time, and I was pretty disappointed. I love their coleslaw.
Oh, well, it's great. I love coleslaw. I love the different forms of coleslaw.
For some reason, their coleslaw.
Pepper. It's the pepper. You're a pepper guy. Oh. You like that pepper. And
are you sure they use a lot of pepper?
Yeah, they use quite a bit.
Okay.
There's some white pepper in there.
Okay, white pepper. I'm like, I don't remember seeing a lot of black in.
There's white pepper in there. It's that little bit of. But do they still have those bowls? They're not healthy at all.
No, I'm sure they I don't know.
It was like mashed potatoes and corn.
Oh, I remember that.
And then they put the chicken on top and slather it in gravy and cheese. And I'm not going to lie, it was pretty solid. Not good.
They took everything they do best and threw it in a bowl.
Your arteries get clogged just thinking.
Every once in a while, time and place.
Yeah, but that's the other thing we thought. Me and my wife were like, I wonder if they have those bowls. Because every once in a while, you just gotta scratch that itch a little bit. Go get a KFC.
You may have to look into that. As always, we end in food. That's just typical RYG style. I'm Chris Husted.
I'm Jason Renner.
This was Review Your Gear Radio.
Thanks for tuning in to Review Your Gear Radio. Be sure to tune in next episode. And don't forget to check out reviewyourgear.com. Also, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Till next time, tight lines and good times in the outdoors.